Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Flixist Movie Reviews and Review. This week we're talking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Lion King. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Flixist Movie Reviews and Review, the weekly segment where I compile all of the Flixist staff's reviews and tell you what we think. Today we're talking about some big-time summer releases. We're going over our thoughts of Lion King, which came out last week, and we're talking about the big release of this weekend, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So we're going to start with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I actually saw this movie just tonight, but Chris was the one that reviewed this. So I'm going to give you Chris's thoughts and then maybe let you know a few things of what I think. He starts off his review by saying, whether it's obvious or not every single feature film that Quentin Tarintino has made is about, well, film. There is rarely a moment in his movies where the writer-director isn't projecting some of his knowledge as a pop culture buff and enthusiast, obviously. Tarantino understands the medium in and out and knows how to use film as a message. And while I may understand the message of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I question if it's really one caring about. Ooh, I have a feeling I know where this is going with old Chris. It's a showcase of Tarantino's finest directing since Jackie Brown, but edited all together, and what the film feels like is a mishmash of vignettes, all paced in Tarantino's usual slow burn, culminating in what felt like a cheap trick. He did say some good things. He says that Pitt and Leo are undeniably magnetic. He says that Leo's performance is entertaining to see a serious actor act as an actor, but acting comedically and playing a character that acts dramatically. I kind of see what he's saying. It is a sort of a caricature. It is really fascinating to see probably the biggest acting star of our time play someone that's washed up and getting old, and you are kind of taken aback because Leo is young and a heartthrob, but he's not anymore, to you and me, if you know what I mean. So back to Chris's review. I get the sense that Tarantino was too enamored by his own premise, writing a film about an actor whose next door neighbor just happens to be Sharon Tate on the year of the Manson family murders. But it doesn't feel like Tarantino actually knew what to do with it. What results is a film that mostly feels like misdirection away from Tarantino's usual shenanigans, which you can fully expect to emerge before the credits rolls. But despite Tarantino's tendency to let his characters ramble on about the most menial things, there's something about the way the man crafts dialogue that it makes almost anything intriguing. I absolutely agree here. The dialogue is unbelievable. He's a master wordsmith. He's incredible. And to wrap up his review, Chris says, yet somehow I feel like something is lost in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, when the subject matter is literally Hollywood. I've always appreciated Tarantino fare, even freaking Death Proof, he says, for using movie genres as a backdrop for the director to play with the silly characters and story ideas. But here, the two are flipped. The characters are the background, while the setting is the real story here. And perhaps that will resonate with a lot of people who will appreciate the film for the same reasons it missed with me. And he gives it 7 out of 10. Okay, so he didn't like it. If you can tell, he had some issues with it. I don't agree with a lot of things he says. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was outstanding in many aspects. I understand it gets on little tangents and it's a bit long, but I loved it. There's nothing like seeing Tarantino movie for the first time. You never know what's going to happen. You don't understand what story structure he's going to go with. It's just, he's a master, and I loved it, and I really enjoyed it. But we love opinions and we love Chris, and yeah, go see it, make up your mind about it. The next one came out last week. You probably have heard about this movie. It's called The Lion King. The Lion King was reviewed by Matt. Matt said, this movie is stupid in how good it looks. It's mind-melting in its striking beauty, unbelievable in its perfect blending of live action shots with CGI animals. You will be stunned by the movement of dirt, and your jaw will drop at the detail on the soaking wet warthog. This movie is a non-stop visual orgasm. Put that one on your Disney poster, Matt says. But it's also just The Lion King again. In fact, Matt says, this is probably the first Disney live-action remake that doesn't really deliver anything new to the story or themes of the original film outside of a fresh and admittedly gorgeous coat of paint. He goes on to say that it doesn't mean that the movie is bad or it fails in its own direction, but it's a letdown after what Favreau did with The Jungle Book. It seems he was just more interested in remaking The Lion King for real than making it its own. This film is a shot-for-shot redo of the original, and those shots look amazing, but they just don't bring anything new to the film itself. However, he says, the original Lion King is a great movie, and like rereading an old book, you find new joy in things you didn't notice the first time. This version delivers some fantastic moments, and when it does change around things, it stands on its own fantastically. He goes in to talk about how wonderful Timon and Pumbaa are, and how they give them little bit things, and they kind of become the star of the show. He also says the visuals at the end of the day are what really steals the show. And he summarizes his review by saying, The Lion King is The Lion King, for better and for worse. At times, it feels like the film equivalent of someone moving everything in your room half an inch to the left, slightly off, but you're not sure why. At other times, you could care less because of its relentless beauty. And then it will do something different, and you'll remember why most of these live-action remakes work. It's a strange, wonderful, confusing beast, but it's really wonderful to watch it roar. And Matt gives it 7 out of 10. I still haven't seen Lion King. I'm very much looking forward to checking it out. So there you go. A busy weekend for you. Hope you guys get a chance. If it's too hot where you are, go to the air conditioning of a theater. See something great. See something hard R, or see something beautiful and childlike and family. So yes, I've been Nathan. This has been the Flixist Movie Reviews and Review. We'll see you next week.